have that interesting run where they have only played 2-game series. If you're following that, a 2-0 to BBQ will certainly send many people through the wall when it comes to understanding who the best teams are in the LCK. What we can say is that Kingzone have no interest in facing a Skarner again.
No, they do not. Like I was saying, I don't think they were going to get their hands on that again, and BBQ don't want BDD to get his hands on the Zoe, so they will ban that one away here. First and foremost on the red side. And Callista as well, so getting rid of a lot of the picks BBQ found in their lap there for game number 1.
I feel like this game will be very, very different. Texture of the game probably going to take a different face. The gangplank still available in this game. Went very deep in the picks in the previous game. Gangplank priority a little bit lower this week. Not really any changes to push that to bear. Gangplank nerfs are coming on patch 8.4, and the Gangplank will be nerfed. So, out with the old, in with the new, says the draft for Game 2.
Go ahead, ban that one away. And the Rise will also make its way into the ban list right at the end. Don't want BDD to snatch that one up for himself. Ezreal is on the board. Prey wasn't very impactful on it. And actually, his first loss in the Ezreal here in 2018 suffered at the hands of BBQ.
It's either Ezreal... Yeah, Azir is the other consideration here. Talia's on the board, so could be considered as a mid laner for both their champion pulls. He's going to be the Azir taken. So a couple options here. 10 can go for the nerfed Malzahar. Try to play through the mid lane. Doesn't feel great, but is an option against the Azir, and it fits in his champion pull. I think maybe it's Talia time. I want to see another Talia game. No Talia Skarner, though. Denied away. But with all the options available, they're just going to go for a farm lane. They're doing their scaling as Trick shows us his famous Nunu. We still have not had a Nunu here, or either impossible when you're going for a double AD carry comp.
Flipping back and forth, but the Sejuani is up, so he'll go ahead and lock that one in. You're not having a bit of a laugh. I wish that we would see the Nunu finally here. But not going to happen yet. Ezreal, however, might just be the second pick up by Kingzone.
And is it hunting season for Peanut? Because Kha'Zix is open in this game and could be picked up here if they want to go on a squishier route when it comes to their jungler. Sejuani taken away. The Zac is still a possibility, but will be a lot of scaling again. And scaling was what got them burnt largely in Game 1. Would expect a jungle pick in the first round, but they're not going to. Okay, so they're shrouding mystery a little bit here. Gonna go consider a support pick. Support Tom Kench. Gonna be locked in here to have a clean answer to the ultimate from Sejuani.
Yeah, did see that one banned away by BBQ in game number 1. Does make its way onto the Rift this time around, so Ezreal Tom Kench. Nothing too shocking there. Last pick for BBQ, where do they want to go?
Go top lane and start banning top laners if they want. But they're just going to go for the AD carry pull. The Caitlyn was one I expected to see come out of Ghost. Caitlyn priority after Deft showed us exactly what she can do, and also the LCS regions playing a lot of Caitlyn. Not as much of a surprise. Good laning phase, of course, in basically every scenario, but going to be super happy against the Ezreal. Now the ban phase will start. It'll be very interesting to see what Rascal wants to decide. Playing a lot of Camille and solo queue. The Vladimir we've already seen from him in the LCK was a loss, but could return to that as well.
There's the Kha'Zix banned away.
And with the standard stuff is Rascal. Yeah, as you mentioned, maybe a bit of insurance here for Trick. Doesn't want to deal with too much battle warding. Could just be Kha'Zix Nidalee if they want to really lower the threat. But are you afraid of Peanuts Nidalee? The answer is usually yes.
I would say yes.
It's been up and down this season, so it's not quite as respected as it was in the past.
Yeah, first time out this season wasn't very great for them.
I feel like Vladimir is going to be heavily prioritized for Rascal on the blue side, so interested to see what's made here. They wait to the last possible second. They're going to ban away the Gnar. Another spot where Vladimir's priority will raise is when the Gnar is taken away as a solid laning matchup into it. What Kingzone decide for final ban. Support and the top laner is what we're looking for from BBQ. A lot of really long faces, a lot of long decisions here. It'll be a double ban of support in the end.
They banned the Taric. They could just give the counter pick over to Crazy, and Alistar is available for Ignar if he wants to take that. Has been a massive pick for him so far. Banned away in game number 1. We're now flashing the Bard, but don't think we're going to see that one actually locked in.
Is a playmaker for Ignar, but against this particular comp, usually you see Bard against Twitch and Kog'Maw, very immobile carries. It would mean a lot of lane presence, though, and they go ultra laning focused. I think they want to return to attacking the bot lane, Achilles. Caitlyn Bard, insanely powerful in the 2v2 laning phase if they can play offensively, if they're not scared about repeated ganks coming through from Peanut. So wow, lane presence heavily reinforced in this game. What did Kingzone make of this? Because I think if they go heavy scaling again, they're going to be punished. I mentioned the Vladimir for Rascal. They will lock it in anyway, but Cho'Gath expected to be the final pick here from BBQ for a strong laning phase, and I think it's going to have to be Peanut being much more on the front foot with the Jarvan this time out. I feel like Peanut needs to do a lot of work, both in terms of creating pressure and also relieving pressure from some difficult lanes. It's crazy, does have access to the Cho'Gath if he wants it.
Around with it right now. Haven't seen any flashes.
This was bad
That would
game
be,
one.
That would be lovely if they wanted to go ahead and run a blitz top or something like that. But yeah, just going to go ahead. Cover the blitz for fun. Cover the Amumu as well.
Fun never stops for the side of BBQ.
Ignar just having a laugh.
Now this would be very interesting. Kassadin top against the Vladimir.
Okay.
We are going to see it. Interesting stuff here.
Okay,
so
this is so crazy.
There's been some crazy Kassadin going on in different roles. It could be mid lane as well, I guess. Seems unlikely.
Corky top.
Corky top was a thing once upon a time. We'll have to wait till 20 seconds to know. Kassadin against Azir is a more standard matchup. This could actually be Corky top coming through.
There's the flip.
We'll
they
wait
still
and
have
see.
17 seconds.
We'll wait and see. Both of them are possible here. Crazy had been playing around with Kassadin solo queue, but from what I saw, it was mid lane Kassadin. Maybe my eyes deceived me. We'll wait till the end and see what's decided here. Kassadin top, a 2014 special, is what we're going to see as far as we know. Interesting stuff going on the Rift. BBQ trying to rewrite
top.
the playbook, and you're correct. Kassadin top against Vladimir. Well, deal with this one, Rascal. Bet you don't have too much practice in the Vladimir versus Kassadin top lane matchup.
Yeah, something tells me they haven't been requesting this one specifically in their scrims. But Crazy, yet again, living up to the name. Now Rascal coming into this matchup that he is very likely not that familiar with. He's going to have to try to trump Crazy.
Now, Peanut is stoked about seeing a Kassadin top because pre-6 Kassadin, pre-defenseless to any sort of jungle power thing. But does that mean that Kassadin plays ultra safe and then Trick keeps going bot lane and trying to profit off the Bard Caitlyn? Bard Caitlyn is a super power lane. Kassadin is a power down lane. So where the jungler goes for different reasons is going to be super fun to inspect.
All right, well, here we go. Game number 2. Game number 1 was already a bit of a whirlwind experience. The BBQ coming out on top of 2-0 would be absolute insanity. Let's see if they can pull it off or if Kingzone's going to fire back and take us all the way to game number 3.
생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Kingzone fans still ruling the audience. You can see the BBQ fans out here.
We fry the game.
We fry the game.
BBQ, one of the main sponsors of LCK Spring 2018.
Great coordination. I feel bad for the two girls who just got some slightly off-color squares.
Who is Prey, Achilles?
Who is Prey? That's a lot of Prey drawings all in one section. It's got some interesting art styles there.
From Prey, actually, in the game. Back on the Ezreal. He's gone Doran Shield this game because he's like, oh god, Caitlyn and Bard. This is the worst nightmare of laning in professional play or in solo queue. Very, very powerful duo. Game 1, Trick got so much done. Look at this, 100% kill participation in the first 15 minutes. It was all bot lane, we'll remember as well, Achilles. All Peanut could do was basically be a ward bot, which is the only meta that he's really struggled in, is pure Cinderhulk meta. That was all he was able to do in that game. And Tempt, in a good matchup with little jungle pressure coming through from Peanut, profited as well.
Massive. I mean, his damage percentage is huge for the Zoe there.
Let's talk about what's going on the Rift. Top lane is going to be double Unsealed Spellbook. Crazy takes Ignite for laning phase and swap over to the Teleport later. The Jarvan's pathing is going to be very interesting, but so will the Sejuani. Right now it looks like both may crest at the top lane. Peanut went buff to buff, big camp to big camp, so he's top much earlier than expected.
It's just going to be an early gank.
Cass level 1.
Yeah, Cassidy just now hitting level 2. Ignite's going to come down. He'll get slowed up by the red. Still has the flash, but I think they're going to be more than happy to go under the turret. There you go. One final hit. Peanut will flash his way out, and First Blood goes over to King Zone, getting things rolling nice and early.
And Peanut varying it up. Didn't see this much on SK Telecom, but felt more confidence here to go big buff to gank. Did not need to go for the level 3. Was comfortable at the level 2. Everyone knows the level 3 timings to respect a level 3 gank from a jungler. Level 2 timings, so much less reliable.
Well, good start here for King Zone, something that they did not have in the first forever of that game. Number 1 was a kill.
And you know
what?
They'll
have one on the board in 3 minutes.
You know what was even worse, Achilleos? Ignite was used to see if they could turn around a turret dive, so he has to walk to lane as well.
Yeah.
So while it hasn't been pushed severely, he's down 10 CS and the lane reset. So he's going to start pushing his way. There'll be some creeps to pick up, but the pre-6 laning phase, always a pain for the Kassadin in any lane. In the long top lane, if a freeze ever comes towards Rascal's turret, there's really little you can do. The minion dematerialize is not going to be enough.
Yeah, and now he's just going to be getting chunked out even further by this Vladimir as time goes on, so level 6 can't come fast enough here for Crazy.
I told a lie, because interestingly, it was minion dematerialize taken by Vladimir and none taken by Kassadin. Gone for the Biscuiteer and also into the perfect timing. So with no minion dematerializer, any hope to control the lane when it's pushing towards Rascal is going to be just gone.
Need some items in order now to clear out those minions. Can't rely on that added bit of damage. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, it's a bit of a stalemate here for the moment. Cosmic Binding can come through on to Prey, but then the Devour will be there.
Usually about turret HP when it's Kate Bard versus an Ezreal Tahm Kench lane. However, jungle pathing from Trick hasn't been inspected just yet, so we'll see where Trick decides to play around. Very respectful 2 items picked up by Tempt in the mid lane. If you're going to go for Doran Shield, Doran Blade, so no scaling on those items, suggests to me that perhaps you'll be isolated in the mid lane. I don't expect too many ganks from Trick if you're going to go double Doran's Corki. Corki never the most attractive to gank anyway.
Oh, well,
Guess
you know
who's
who's
back?
attractive to gank? It's going to be that Kassadin, who has no summoners. Flag and Drag won't get the connection. Crazy going to zip his way down into the river, but it tells me he still might be going down here in this fight. Flash forward into the final hit, and Rascal will take that one. 1-0-1 each on the top and jungle here for King Zone. They start things off quite nicely, just giving Crazy the direst treatment.
They did not have vision of where the enemy jungler was, so they didn't want to respect the fact and wait for the EQ to be back up from the Jarvan. So Flash is invested by Rascal. That's 50% CDR. They get the kill guaranteed. May also help Rascal get his first item. Notice he did start Spell Thieves, the old build. Looking to rush into the GP tennis. Well, he might be dead again, Crazy.
GP's coming through. The pool going to go ahead and slow him up. They'll take the Flag and Drag out. No, Knight ticking away. Peanut is low on mana, but we'll go ahead and just hound him away from the turret here for the moment. But Trick waiting in the wings. Will instill some more confidence here for the Kassadin to safely go back in underneath of his own turret.
Yeah, and that was the thing, was Trick had to be there, otherwise they would have zoned him off the minion wave, even though they were low. So you pick Kassadin top. You can't be too surprised as the reward, but the fact that Trick has only spent the time farming, hasn't been able to create anything else on the map, means it's just been free, even though everyone in the world knew that with Kassadin top, you expect the jungler to be there.
Well, rough start for him. He's going to go back as he gets the wave pushing in underneath the turret. Rascal running his way back now.
And he has rushed into the evolved GP10 support item here. You'll notice from Rascal, working his way towards the quest, again as a way to get gold generation and also avoid the minion disabling the quest. So it's just a GP10 here. The Sightstone part of it, the wards will be welcome, but largely just to get more gold generation for the 2nd and 3rd items on the Vlad. No rush to the Proto Belt this time.
Crazy could be happy that he has his stopwatch. Next time they go for a dive, perhaps he can actually turn things around, but this time he doesn't have the Ignite.
Stopwatch is in the top lane, but nowhere else. Stopwatch much lower this week. Never really gets the 6 to 8 that we were seeing in previous patches after the change in the tree for it. Now Peanut goes to his bottom side. Hasn't seen much of this ever since his red buff spawn. Actually, only back on the bottom side when his second red buff spawns. Level 6 purely from gank involvement. Great to see Peanut proactive. Game 1 had to be reactionary because of the draft that Kingzone opted into. He took Jarvan. He was top early. He knows that his role this time is very different on the Rift.
Let's see how BBQ look to turn things around. For now, Temp's just going to go ahead and pick up the blue buff, head back to base. Be able to rejoin the mid lane rather swiftly.
Well, they got that scaling thing going on. They got Corki in the mid lane. They have Kassadin in the top lane. Both of them are going to be focused on scaling, but it's the sort of thing that can be punished by an aggressive-minded jungler. And the fact that while Vladimir scales, can also be involved in just accentuating damage elsewhere. The only winning lane BBQ have is bot side. So far hasn't been impacted by the jungler, but a cheeky jungle gank, if they can get the bot lane turret down early, things will start to fall apart for the side of BBQ, who are strong in the 1-3-1, but only after certain items and getting a turret down, and to do that when both their laners are in a fairly disadvantageous position is going to be hard to pull.
Trick hasn't been able to get to a position to try to wrap around the bot lane here at Kingzone.
That is a blast from the past.
Quite far up, and yeah,
Apple.
wow. 2015 summer.
That was my first season here in the LCK. Apple came over from Team Quantic. He was on Loco Doco's team.
A name I have not heard in so long.
When they were trying to get promoted to the NALCS way back in 2014.
Versus Trace, the now coach of KSV.
Our famous Graves and Malzahar top player. Famous Rengar player in the past as well. So 9 games of
His
top
GP
lane
was quite
Kassadin.
good as well.
Sure. Second best on his team when GBM was there, though. Good old days, 2015, 2016. We're now in the new meta. Seems a lot like the old meta sometimes.
It really does. I'm just actually, speaking of the 2016 days, I'm just 2 days away from my 2-year anniversary of having moved to Korea. Time has flown by.
It's been a delight, Achilles.
Well, thank you.
Much as I might give you some stuff sometimes. I had to adjust my language there.
I know. I knew exactly where you were going with that. Some stuff.
Some stuff. What
Stuff.
other word would it have been? That's a weird pronunciation. All right, BBQ. Need to find a way to actually get something out of Caitlyn Braum, because we've had a couple of Caitlyn lanes. You think back to KT versus Kingzone, where you lock Caitlyn, you're like, yep, lane presence, and then they go equal in CS and lose the turret and kind of lose the impact. Just top lane.
Oh, Hemo Play going to come down, but the stopwatch is there. Actually, maybe mistimed it. Took a little bit of damage on the back end. He says the shield off the Null Sphere to try to keep himself alive. Peanut pushes forward.
All right, Trick, we need to see something. All over the place in game 1. Need to impact somewhere on the map, otherwise they're just going to lose their advantage in the bot side.
He's impacting the jungle.
He is.
He's clearing it out.
3 camps up on his opposite number. But, of course, the kill involvement. So what we're going to be inspecting the side of Kingzone. This is where they need to be winning them, because you have to win somewhere, Achilles. Otherwise, invariably, the game just ends around you. For now, no pressure in the bot side, no pressure in mid. Kassadin top lane, enough said. So, pressure game being heavily won by Kingzone. That means that a gold lead, it's not just the 2 kills. They're going to start getting CS leads in every lane if things don't change soon.
I mean, this gold lead here that Kingzone has is fairly similar to the one that BBQ found themselves with at about 25-30 minutes into the game.
When it comes together, though, it's such a weird comp from BBQ, because they have one frontliner in Sejuani, who we know is going to throw out an ult, and probably in the ultra late game not achieve too much. And then they have 3 hard carries and a Bard. So it's very interesting to see how these team fights can be pulled off. I feel like we very rarely see the maximum value out of the Tempered Fate from Bard. You know, when Bard was first released, of course, the idea of the AoE Zonias onto half a team and then killing the other 2. Like, you do see that mechanic sometimes, but it almost has to be enacted here. Because to peel away Rascal from the backline, you don't really have anyone to do that on the side of BBQ. It feels like Rascal's going to get a triple kill every time he goes in there, unless they're already winning in terms of pressure, or unless you see something pretty inspired from Igma.
Not Trick for the moment. Feeling inspired enough to start up the Rift Herald. We'll be able to solo that one out. In the meantime, Peanut is taking the Ocean Drake in vision, so we know That Trick is going to be safe to go ahead and finish that one out very slowly.
Very excited to see this.
Ooh, emo play coming down yet again. Crazy.
Very excited to see this matchup as it goes on. With the Magic Resist Shield on Q, you can negate a lot of the trades from the Vladimir, but as Vladimir hits 40% CDR, it seems like it's going to be pretty even. I mean, even for Cassidy is a win, but...
Oh, BDD, he's feeling feisty. He goes in, gets a Shroom, a shuffle in on the Trick with the help of the flash, and Trick is just going to get taken down. BDD finds the third kill of the game here for Kingzone.
Yeah, one game late for some people, but in the second game, finally we see some aggression out of the mid laner. Cool to see BDD remind us of his Azir. Able to pick up the kill. Trick's first involvement in the game, just to death, although he picks up the Rift Herald and can use that later. Peanut continues with the counter jungling. Kingzone don't want this game to go 50. They're trying to get it one and done in 25.
So far, going to be on pace for that second Emperor's Divide I believe we've seen in this entire series so far right there from BDD. So starting things off better than we saw from him in game number 1. Ignar looking for the Cosmic Binding but can't get it. So it just takes a Mystic Shot and a True Shot barrage to the face.
Will BBQ be able to get online with their item timings to actually be competitive in this game? Crazy going to go with a very defensive build to slowly start inching forward in trades when he does finish up what looks to be the first item, Abyssal Mask. Second item for Corki after the Trinity Force, usually when he gets going. And Caitlyn, taking this much pressure, is going to be about 10 minutes away from 2 items herself. So still, during that time, it feels like BBQ can only raise the white flag. You see already Crazy giving up lane CS and turret damage, effectively doing that in many ways. They're going to have to keep pulling back, and BBQ finding anything on the map is going to probably have to be a Rift Herald, because anything other than that looks impossible for Kingzone to give up.
14-minute first turn of the game here for Kingzone as Rascal finishes this one off. You can see that early pressure exerted in the top lane by Peanut, just helping spill and snowball this here for the Vladimir.
I'd love to see the gold as well, because solo gold, and he's gone heavy into gold generation in his first item, and he's 30 CS up. So when you say that many ands in a sentence, it's not grammatically great, but it is realistic as Prey. You need to calm down this
Didn't
series,
see that
Prey.
trap there. He was blinded. Blood was in his eyes. He was looking for Ghost. Wanted to kill him. But odd to see. Very little pressure towards that bottom side of the map from any of the junglers. And the King Bard still suffering. This is, of course, the Prey Gorilla effect that we were lacking in game number 1, I suppose.
Well, it's just the jungle wasn't bot lane to punish Prey and Gorilla, and this time the items are going to be there at the right times. The jungler never had to be there from the side of Kingzone. Trick has been a passenger in this game, and only a Rift Herald has been the prophet. You see what he's trying to do, though. Go bot lane, try to end the laning phase, try to rotate with the Caitlyn into mid lane is the current game plan. And then in the Pandemonium, a level 11 Cassidy might be able to make things happen. But the turret is already very healthy. It's in fact full health. It's not going to be a massive Rift Herald by any means.
Yeah, they can't even stick around to try to finalize this kill, so they're literally just using the Rift Herald for the charge. Didn't quite see how much time it had left on it.
And the back
at the
timing.
time of the cast, but...
And the back timing as well, Kilios, because with Abyssal Voyage to get back to lane, Caitlyn couldn't stay in lane with just half of a Static Shiv and a BF Sword. Need to get some power to go against already 2-item Ezreal. It took 20 minutes for Prey to hit this 2-item point in the game in game 1. Here he gets it at 15 and looking a lot more strong.
Just pushing up the Vision game. Still been playing very heavily around the Vision here in game number 2, but this time has been able to tack on 2 assists and that kill of his own to start things off.
And a lot of people look at the draft here from BBQ and say, you know, you were likening this to game 1 in many ways, right, with how it's played out so far. I think you could look at the draft from BBQ and say, well, what's wrong with it? It's very similar in terms of hyper-scaling compared to what Kingzone was doing in game 1. But remember that there's hyper-scaling drafts. Trick's going to have to exit his jungle. And there's top lane Cassidy, who isn't Gangplank. Gangplank can throw an ult and actually wins a lot of side lane trades with just his ultimate. Cassidy provides literally nothing in that way. His turret also goes down much earlier. He may scale, some would say, harder than Gangplank. I don't know if I'd say that, but he certainly scales very hard. But they've gone so heavily into scaling with a Corki mid lane as well The end result is they're kind of giving up a lot, and the time to be online here is purely 3 items, rather than, well, we can win a 4v4 with the cannon barrage. They don't even have a backup there. It really is only, look at the clock, if it reads 32 minutes and the gold lead isn't massive, maybe we can win.
Well, so far, not so good. It's about 6,000 down now as BBQ are able to hold on to the mid-tier 1 turret. Not going to be taken out yet, but a lot of damage coming through.
I don't know if we've seen the gold, but Rascal's having a fun time.
Yeah, I don't think we flipped over to that yet.
Sad. I guess you caught 2.5 items, kind of. You got a lot of power, but not necessarily the highest tier items completed. Does control waves. You can push in the Cassidy very easily, and Cassidy again doesn't die, but doesn't really do anything else with where we are in the game. The Abyssal Mask offensive side, the 10% amp on damage, not going to be as relevant until the Corki hits 2-3 items. So at 1 item, it's not doing much. They can't really fight for anything, and they really do need to give up an Infernal, which is happy news for Kingzone.
Love to snatch that up for themselves. Not the only Infernal of game 1, but it helped them out a little bit, but not enough to close the game. Crazy. Still just trying to claw back as much CS as he possibly can, as he is in a massive deficit still.
Around 35% CDR as well if he has the 5% from runes. So, yep, free Infernal. Smart to see, no contest here from BBQ. They didn't get an RSVP to this one, so they will not be attending the party. So the next spawn is another Infernal will punish him. It's going to be a Cloud Drake, so at least that's better news. It's probably going to be the fourth, I should say, Drake of the game, if they're taking off spawn before BBQ actually has power to fight.
Ghost takes a bit there. True Shot Barrage really chunks him down.
A lot of a bit.
At the end of it, yeah. Tempt has to go ahead. Valkyrie his way back, and the turret will go down. That's 3-0 here for Kingzone as they keep moving forward with this gold lead.
And you're getting strangled if you're BBQ. Suddenly, you know, you got a turret on your side of the map, control of the jungle, just control wards up. BBQ, you know, we talk always about this old adage of giving too much rope. The top lane Cassin, I think, was the rope that broke the camel's back. This one is really, in terms of scaling, an ultra late game thing, and ultra late game's looking like a pipe dream for BBQ.
Strangled is the best way to put it, I think. Kingzone acting like a python. I think the bleed pythons are ones that strangle. It's been a while. I should know. I used to work in a pet store, my first job out of college, so I should
one
remember
job,
this,
Achilles.
you know,
you've actually had 3,
and it was so long ago.
Oscar walks around, and everyone kind of wants to leave lane. He's so powerful at this point. Trying to put up vision where they can to have some threat of vision on the map, but yep, they're basically farming under inner turrets pre-20 minutes, which is bad news. I wonder how early the Baron start attempt will be for Kingzone. Have a lot of Baron damage coming through from the Azirs. Already hit Leandri's and upgraded boots, so very, very powerful at this point. I think the Baron will be very early, and if we do see them walk in, you remember I talked about that Vladimir in the backline? Already probably going to be doing some triple killing with how big his item build is and how BBQ don't have any time for magic resist at this point.
Barely have time for anything. Objectives have eluded them so far. This is perfect game pace here for Kingzone.
And people will look at this game, you know, right now if you're joining in late and say,
oh no, Rift Herald was taken by.
Yep, that was the objective they picked up. But you look at this game and you make a snark remark, right? You're like, oh, Kingzone lost to this, which they literally did in game 1. So much has changed there that the format of the draft, the fact that Kingzone was surprised by the Skarner and the bot lane focus, the same players go on and draft so differently, and it's why best of 1 is something that I struggle to understand, because it's a totally different game, literally because the draft meant that it has to be that way.
Well, Kingzone just kind of running all over the map. Go wherever they choose at the moment. Just exert their pressure across the board. Dumping in the brush. Trying to clear out some of this wave, but Prey's got Gorilla to back him up. And you can see Prey having a much better game this time on the Ezreal.
But not to
doing
respect.
some damage.
Doesn't need to respect anything. Sejuani's showing in mid lane. There's no other initiation CC really.
BDD looking for it, just can't quite get it. Magical Journey takes Ignar out to safety. Very close, though.
Playing all 3 lanes, as you would expect. Talk about it so often, but there's nothing BBQ can do. The items aren't there to cause threat. When they walk up to wave clear, they're afraid of being collapsed upon by the Jarvan, who they cannot see as we speak right now. Good wave clear in all rolls, not enough as another turret rolls down. Crazy's going to finally find Peanut. There he is. Trying to take away your Gromp. Vladimir loads up, working on the Void Staff as a 4th item. And BBQ are bleeding out. And honestly, I don't think any bandage is going to stop what Kingzone are doing.
Seem that way. Nearly 10,000 gold. It's just insane here for 23 minutes, just about. Miracle is essentially what BBQ would need, but I don't even know what a miracle looks like in this context.
The game still being at this point in 20 minutes. If somehow they just traded farm, Kingzone pushed waves and backed, and pushed waves and backed, then that was the miracle they're looking for, but Baron should signal the end of this game if Kingzone are actually able to claim it. Rascal's just playing single player on this side. Doesn't really know if there's an opponent in the lane, doesn't really know about the 4 other people in the game.
Smooth handoff there. Onto the red buff. Prey just going to keep himself extra safe and have that extra harass from that red. Some blue buff will be taken away. Crazy, just nothing he can do other than watch it go. Pushing in for it would certainly be his death. No stopwatch to try to save his life, so. Just has to look on as everything crumbles around him.
It's kind of presented without comment this game. You know, we talked in the draft about what they could do. We talked about how, okay, seems pretty clear how the Castan will have to respect what will Trick do. The end result, we saw very early that he was going to be on the back foot, respecting how much power is in the lane for Kingzone, respecting to a point where he was a passenger, his lanes lost as they well should, and then the bot lane, which was winning, of course, with it being Kate Bard. Jarvan went there once, the laning phase was ended, and they've got no value out of the Caitlyn Bard at all. And now Bard in a team fight, will he be able to peel the Vlad? If not, it's a useless pick in many ways. So it's kind of gone away from BBQ to the point where it doesn't really deserve too much explanation. As Prey, will he be able to get a cathartic kill back? Still hasn't got his first kill of the series.
Would like to start building up that KDA again after the pretty subpar performance from him in game number 1. We kind of have to think, you know, seeing this play here from Kingzone, this is much more measured, this is much more methodical, like we're used to seeing from them when they were on their 14-game winning streak. You know, we kind of have to consider, was game 1 a fluke here for BBQ coming out on top? Was it a lot of disrespect from the draft banning the Blitz instead of something like the Zoe? True shot barrage thrown out as Ghost got chunked down by BDD, but cannot find the kill, but the heal now going to be burned and the turret goes down in mid.
My read on that was it was a niche draft that could work, but the Trick early game punishing bot lane so much that bot lane couldn't be powerful, it couldn't be 2-item Ezreal trying to dictate the pace of the game, took away any options. They didn't have options, they only had scaling. In the end, the scaling wasn't enough. So a lot of it was about draft for me in game 1, and honestly, Kingzone have been weird in draft ever since that Junior series that also was a lot of scaling. So we know that Kingzone can play counterpick for Khan, win top lane, win the game. We know they can play as decisively as they have here. This is a return to the old Kingzone with how decisive they were, and Peanut also being opened up for aggression. Is Zac impressive for a Cinderhawk jungler? Is Sejuani not so, but with lanes that didn't really lend themselves to assistance? Now he's on the Jarvan, and he basically won the game with his visits to the top lane.
Yeah, 2 ganks. Just kind of sealing the deal there. As we have gone over 10,000 gold here in the lead for Kingzone. 3 dragons, and again, BBQ, not a perfect game. If they lose this here without gaining anything else, they did get the Rift Herald. So no chance for them to get perfect games, but with nothing else on the scoreboard, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, you know, it looks like a perfect game. You're right, on closer inspection, when you get the monocle out.
I mean, we can almost still call it that because the Rift Herald literally got them nothing.
You could, I will not. I'll slap you if you do. I'm watching you, Kilios.
It's not the official one.
I'm watching you. I know you play-by-play cast with your closing reel calls like a perfect game by. I'll slap you in between your call.
Maybe I want you to slap me.
Well, that's a different thing to talk about later.
All right, we'll talk about this after the broadcast.
All right, BBQ, show us something magical. The Journey probably not going to do it. The Tempered Fate, anything could happen. The Dream Bard play. Is this going to be a free Baron? Probably for Kingzone.
Yeah, they'll burn this down very quickly with the Azir.
All right, the
Tempered
reset.
Fate
Let's start.
has been used. And they'll just go ahead and look to take down BBQ. Ignar takes a very swift magical journey.
Now let's see if Kingzone is going to treat this like a warding trinket, a blue trinket, and just return to the Baron, because now they know that the Tempered Fate is on cooldown for a long time. Chasing after BBQ won't do much, so probably want to pull back here if you're Kingzone. Still have Azir, you still want them to come to you.
BDD is pretty threatening, but going in 1v4 would be ill-advised. So instead he's just bringing up the wave there in mid, Prey in top. Seems like we might just have
Kill the Baron, guys.
a bit of a turnaround here. They push forward, they say, okay, you know what, take two, let's do this again.
So they know the warding trinket is down, they know the Tempered Fate is down. Can they stop Trick from getting over the wall? Will it matter? So much damage.
He's still quite far away. Gorilla trying to lock him up, but it's going to go down. Now they can just come right over the wall. Prey jumps in with the Arcane Shift, throws out the True Shot Barrage. Trick trying to make his way out of there. It seems like he will get out with his life, but Prey is still hot on his heels, lands the Mystic Shot. Trick trying to lock him up, but he'll go down before he can. Fourth kill going over. Prey now on the board, and Kingzone have a Baron to try to close out the game.
Yeah, no Ghost on Rascal, he still has teleports. Couldn't actually get into the back line to look for more. Will we ever see the Hemo play? They probably don't need it where the game is at. 4 items, though. 5 items even on the Vladimir makes me want to see it 28 minutes into the game. First inhibitor will roll down. And BBQ, we talked about how they needed to put up the white flag. They have to do it for everything here. There's that Hemo Plague.
Coming in, Ignar going to get locked in. Hemo Plague not even going to get the chance
kill
to pop because he will go down. Rascal does get the killing blow there onto Ghost 2 to 0 here with Trick still dead as Kingzone start pushing in for the finish here. Pre-30 minutes. Game 1, merely a setback, it would appear. Khan the problem Kappa, but Rascal with this Vladimir, with the assistance from Peanut, is an absolute monster, and there's nothing BBQ can do to try to compete.
And they get a kill on the board. It's looking very unlikely. Kingzone want to up the KDA. They want to keep it clean. Pre-30 minutes, smiles on the face of Kingzone players for the first time this series. We'll go into a game 3, and that's a wave of momentum for Kingzone DragonX.
It is. They would have liked to have had this be a 2-0, continue on with that win streak, and close out the first half of the spring split very cleanly, but BBQ did throw a wrench in that plan, but they fire right back and they shut BBQ down. No shenanigans with the Kassadin top. They put their focus there, and there was just really nothing BBQ could do to try to swing back into the game.
And we see games like this where people try to next levels quite frequently. The first time we saw a top lane rise, it was into Gnar, and he's kind of lost. And we said, well, top lane rise in this meta. Now we see the top lane Kassadin, which as an isolated lane with 2 other winning lanes could have done a job. There is still a world where you play defensively, you have 2 other pushing lanes, and then Kassadin gets items and does well in the trades against Vlad later. That just never came because they were so one-sided in their job. Too much scaling was well punished, and now we're left with a game 3 with Kingzone holding all the momentum.
Yeah. Let's see what BBQ wants to do going into game 3. We'll see if they want to swap anything around or if Trick is going to be staying in. Wasn't much he could do in game number 2 other than just farm up. So a bit of an awkward position for him to be in there with that Sejuani. But BBQ, all that momentum gained from their game 1 victory, likely wiped out in just under 30 minutes.
Makes game 3 so interesting. I think the Kassadin's gone. That's going to be in the trash heap. Well, we see some new stuff, though. Maybe no Zoe.
Yeah, I think you scrapped the Kassadin idea. Skarner and Zoe still likely going to be banned away there by Kingzone, but we'll find out when we come back from the break. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes.